Let's talk facts here. There was a lot of discussion about New York City. There is no discussion about gun violence in New York City without discussing the iron pipeline that is Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Pennsylvania, and honorary mention to Ohio, where 70% of likely illegal trafficked guns found in New York City come from. There's no discussion about gun violence in Chicago without talking about Indiana, because the violence and the mothers that we have to comfort are losing children due to the guns and the carnage and the lawlessness unleashed by those states. I move on. Every week in recent memory, we have had at least one mass shooting. Ms. Pringle, you are the president of the National Education Association. You represent teachers. Between 2009 and 2018, how many school shootings did the United States have?
288.
288. Now let's look globally. Our G7 partners, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and the United Kingdom, combined, how many school shootings did those countries have?
5. 50
5.
times more.
In almost 10 years. 288 versus 5. This is not normal. Not only is it not normal, it is internationally embarrassing and delegitimizing to the United States. Because for all the billions and trillions that this body authorizes in the name of national security, we can't even keep our kids safe from their schools being turned into a war zone. Now let's talk about why. Let's talk about one thing more important to lobbyists and the gun industry than children, than houses of faith, than human beings. Let's talk about profit. Mr. Suplina, in 2020, 22.8 million guns were sold, reflecting a 64% increase from 2019, correct?
Correct.
In 1 year. And across the board, gun manufacturers and ammunition companies began to see record profits. Is that right?
That's correct.
Now let's put that into context. In 2020, again, more than 45,000 Americans died by gunfire, reflecting an almost threefold increase from 2015. Are those statistics correct?
That's accurate.
So in your view, are you seeing a correlation between gun profits and gun deaths in the United States?
Yes.
This is about blood money. Between 2019 and 2021, 2 years, leading gun manufacturers Sturm and Ruger saw gross profits double to almost $280 million. In fact, during an earnings call, their CEO called the sales boom, quote, historic, ferocious, and that the future was bright. A month after that, an AR-556 pistol murdered 10 people at a supermarket in Boulder, Colorado. Those profit margins, $280 million, go to lobbying. Is that correct? Much of that goes to lobbying, correct?
Significant amounts go to lobbying, correct.
And can you remind us what the gun industry is lobbying against when it deploys these lobbying resources?
They are lobbying against every law that would regulate firearms, period.
And can you briefly tell us how gun companies have poured extra profits directly into lobbying against gun reform? And as an advocate in this space, what have you seen? Just rattle off some of the measures that they have, just a few that they have lobbied against.
They've lobbied against background checks, which on all gun sales, which would, in fact, as was mentioned earlier, allow for the would-be criminal to obtain a firearm from a law-abiding citizen without a background check. The criminal would be breaking the law, but we could stop that. They've lobbied against red flag laws, which would temporarily deprive, after due process, firearm from somebody who poses a threat to themselves or others. That is a court adjudication.
Thank you.
Everything.
Thank you very much. And for context, the NRA spent about $250 million in 2020 alone. That's more than twice the entire salary of Congress combined. In 1 year, lobbying against gun safety laws. There's also this discussion about anything but a gun, but that these are about violent people, but yet we aren't doing anything about addressing the actual root causes of misogyny, where 2/3 of mass shootings are connected to domestic violence, or the emergence of white supremacy radicalization, mass incarceration, and poverty, and the connections between that and mass shootings in our communities. I yield my time. Thank you, Madam Chair.